Yesterday, we heard the voice speak to the world and to all of us. Today, Death, who is a very cunning fellow, tells Savitri that it's impossible that she can get Satyavan back. And he uses all kinds of arguments. And he says to her at one point, if earth can look up to the light of heaven and hear an answer to her lonely cry, not vain their meeting, not heaven's touch a snare. If thou and I are true, the world is true. Although thou hide thyself behind thy works, to be is not a senseless paradise. Oh, death is so brilliant. He says, clasp ocean, Savitri, deep into thyself, thy wave, happy forever in the embosoming surge. Then grow one with the still passion of the depths. Then shalt thou know the lover and the loved, leaving the limits dividing him and thee. Receive him into boundless Savitri. Lose thyself into infinite Satyavan. O miracle! Where thou beganst, there cease. But Savitri answered to the radiant God, in vain thou tempest with solitary bliss, two spirits saved out of a suffering world. My soul and his, indissolubly linked in the one task for which our lives were born, to raise the world to God in deathless light, to bring God down to the world on earth. We came to change the earthly life to life divine. I keep my will to save the world and man. Even the charm of thy alluring voice, O blissful Godhead, cannot seize and snare. I sacrifice not earth to happier worlds. Because there dwelt the Eternal's vast idea and his dynamic will in men and things, so only could the enormous scene begin. Whence came this profitless wilderness of stars, this mighty barren wheeling of the suns? Who made the soul of futile life in time? Planted a purpose and a hope in the heart. Set nature to a huge and meaningless task, or planned her million-eoned efforts waste. What force condemned to birth and death and tears these conscious creatures crawling on the globe? If earth can look up to the light of heaven and hear an answer to her lonely cry. Not vain their meeting, nor heaven's touch a snare. If thou and I are true, the world is true. Although thou hide thyself behind thy works, to be is not a senseless paradox. Since God has made earth, earth must make in her God. What hides within her breast, she must reveal. I claim thee for the world that thou hast made. If man lives bound by his humanity, if he is tied forever to his pain, let a greater being then arise from man. The superhuman with the eternal mate, and the immortal shine through earthly forms.